Hello there. We are here to rank, well, not rank. We're going to analyze these LD Masters teams. We just got done drafting around today, and it's a new gen, so we're trying to see what these teams are looking like. But yeah, here today we have myself, Rye, and then we have Sean as well.
What's
And
up?
then oh yeah, say hello. And then we have another LD Masters coach in Habaduh. Say hello.
Hello.
So we gonna get right into this. Um, First up, we have AN22 and his team. What we thinking here?
Well, you got first pick Iron Valiant, which seemed to be the most common first pick in all the divisions.
Was it
Yeah, I think
this
it,
one?
it was in like most of them.
Okay. I feel like Valiant is maybe second best one.
I don't know. I think I prefer Zama and Draga both to it.
I
It's a
agree.
little overrated.
I agree.
It's very good though.
I think just looking at his team, right? I think
Well, I guess let's say what the team is, just for people who might be listening instead of watching. There's a Iron Valiant, Zapdos, Iron Shreds, Meowscarada, Grimmsnarl, Galar Slowbro, Gastrodon, Paldean Tauros, the water type one, Lilligant, Spidops, and Flareon, and his Terra captains are Iron Valiant and Lilligant.
I think
Yeah.
the one thing I like about this team is that he seems to have a lot of good answers to a lot of the top meta threats. Like like with Slowbro Galler, that's like one of the best checks to Iron Valiant. Even though he has it, he could end up facing the other one in the other division. That's kind of nice. And then Grimmsnarl, of course. I myself got Grimmsnarl. I think this one is fire with Parting Shot and checking things like Pult. And then also Tauros as well, checking Chien Pao. Those are the big things I noticed. But yeah.
I don't know if Taurus is a great Chimpao chick, bro. It's gonna drop the Psychic Fangs.
I did the calcs. I think Psychic Fangs, with it being like max defense, intimidate, it's like with leftovers, it's like a slight damage roll. It's like 12% chance to like OHKO or something.
Man,
Two
it sounds
shot.
like it drops after a spike, bro.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know, man. Not the greatest cheers, but I mean,
I like the core of Zapdos Iron Treads. They have good synergy together. Meowscarada providing those spikes as well. I mean, I think this team is fine. I don't see any like glaring holes in it.
It has a lot of pivoting to get in things like Iron Valiant or even Meowscarada, get up a spike and all that, and even pivot out with that. I think the top is pretty good. Some of the picks at the bottom, I'm not so sure. I understand Spidops gets like like a lot of hazards, but this gotta be like the worst mon they introduced in this generation, or even in the in the series. I think it's kind of just like a new Ariados. It's like low tier website.
it's probably worse than Ariados, man.
Yeah, at least
Is
Ariados has Sucker Punch.
Hold on, wait a minute. No, I take it back. That's
He has
confusion.
like 7 real mons on his team, which is unfortunate. It's not half a mon, but only 7 real mons, which is not amazing. But I do think that Lilligant being Terra actually makes it pretty viable. So I like that.
Yeah, Quiver Dance threat.
Yeah.
I think the Gastrodon is interesting. That's definitely there for things like Palafin, and what are the other notable waters? I guess like Quaquavel as well.
Unfortunately,
Urshifu. I don't even think it checks Urshifu Rapids. I think CC just dents
I'm about
that
to say,
thing.
unfortunately, I do not think Gastro is a Palafin check.
It's definitely not a Palafin check.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know the
Band.
calcs.
I'm pretty sure Band is CC 2 KOs, and if not that, then Grassknot is also doing heavy damage.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forget
I mean-
against Grassknot. Palafin's a demon.
Palafin can also
No,
just
for
taunt the
some
guy
reason,
and chip him
Palafin is not
away.
in the calc. I don't know why Palafin is not in the calc.
No, it's not.
No, it's just not in the calc. But just trust it definitely gets blown away. Palafin is a demon.
You don't need a calc. You just know you're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if it doesn't Tokyo, you're gonna get taunted, and then you're not gonna be able to heal up, and you'll die anyway. So
Do you think there's any like glaring weakness in this draft? Like, is there any like particular top threat you think can abuse this?
The bundle. Where's his bundle check?
I assume it's Gal or
Yeah.
Slowbro, but I don't know what the calcs are with that.
He got a maybe Sablo.
At least Bundle has a bad spit F stat, so you can at least punish it with Gal or Slowbro. But yeah, I'd have to check the calcs. I assume it can live with the hits. If it can take
it's not
like
too bad.
if it can take Primarina hits, it can definitely take Bundle hits.
I don't think it's too bad off. He's got G-Bro, he's got potential scarfers and light screens. It shouldn't be that bad.
From Snarl, like screens plus parting shot, pivoting.
Exactly. I mean, it's a threat, but it's like that for everyone.
Like, all he really needs to do is pivot around, get Valiant in. And he also has Terra access, which is pretty scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next team.
Alright. The next team is Milan's. He has Zamazenta Crowned, Lando T, Azumarill, Hydreigon, Decidueye, Salazzle, Greninja, Hisuian, Braviary, Wigglytuff, Raichu, and Lycanroc Knight, with his Terra Captains being Lando T and Salazzle.
Now, in my opinion, I think he most definitely should have terrored Azu. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think Terazu's a menace.
But besides that, I mean, I think this draft is fine. Like top 4 are really good. I mean, plus Greninja, those are all really good mons.
Decidueye is also pretty good.
Yeah, dude, Decidueye is good too. What's his
A
head?
lot of good priority in this generation with like Defog, still has Roost,
Has
Knockoff.
Nox still too.
Yeah.
Decidueye is his only remover, which is interesting.
Braviary as well.
Is Braviary really?
I heard both learn Defog.
I guess. Yeah. Bad?
Oh no, they do. Okay. He might be working with something. I think this is an okay team. I don't think it's anything crazy. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Azu is going to be really good. It has really good defensive niches in this meta.
Yeah,
I think Azu's a great pick.
He definitely okay. That's why I see why he got Raichu, because I was gonna say he definitely would end up struggling. But yeah,
Oh, like
got Raichu.
Against two, like Regieleki?
Yeah.
No, he's just gonna pull up with that Flame Warp Facade one shot.
True.
But yeah, I think it's fine. Me personally, I would have with Zama, I would definitely get a solid Wish Passer, and I mean Wigglytuff is okay, but I don't think that much something like that. So
Wigglytuff is that pult check, bro.
This. I don't think. Wish Passing's kind of awkward. It has its matchups, but it's kind of a little bit slow sometimes. With Zama, my main concern is as long as you can keep hazards off for it, because it can't run boots in a Spikes heavy meta.
What are your thoughts on his Salazzle being a Terra Captain? because it's basically the same typing as Iron Moth, but better setup access, and it's definitely faster as well. What do you
It
think
doesn't
about
have the
that?
same.
I don't
Its
think
coverage is significantly worse.
I don't think Terra is helping them on, bro. Like the thing is, Salazzle is so frail. Even if you're changing it to a type that can maybe help, I don't think it's really going to save you like that.
I don't know. Maybe we're sleeping.
Yeah, because I
Guys would
definitely
probably
thought he
do
would.
something.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought he was gonna tear the Azu, but I also thought he was gonna do the Braviary as well. I think that Braviary typing, it's the same as like Galar Articuno, would be very effective with it.
Plain, especially with Tinted Lens.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think it has a speed boosting move too. That's purple.
Does it?
Yeah.
It gets like agility. Well, doesn't it?
Sheer force as well. It has a lot of good abilities on it.
Yeah.
But I think this team is okay. Nothing crazy.
It's fine.
That's like Rye's go-to word. Okay. It's I.
Well, because there are some teams that I've seen and they're like pretty wild. This is a pretty decent team. Not trash.
I will say the colors are really doing it for me.
He needs some red other than that Lycanroc.
You got some on Zama?
Zama's got a better red, yeah.
No. Those are just streaks. I need like a full red mon.
I feel like red is such a prominent color. If you have too much of it, it's pretty jarring.
And you are the color expert, so you would know.
Now let's move on to Greg. Now,
oh yeah, so let me say for Greg has Dragapult, no Terra access, Chi-Yu, Sneasler, Slowbro, Tinglu, Lycanroc Dusk, Tinkaton, Kilowattrel, Komala, and Bramblegast with Terra Captains, Sneasler, and Kilowattrel.
Now, first off, when you get this, I'm very surprised that he was able to get Sneasler pick 3. It's kind of wild. And also too, I think that the Tinglu Slowbro core is just very good. Very, very good. They basically are like have no common weakness outside of like grass moves, but I think he covers
and
that
bug.
pretty well. Oh yeah, and bug.
Don't worry, Sneasler resists both of those things.
Yep.
Sneasler completes the defensive core.
I think Chi-Yu is a pretty cool mon. I'm interested to see how it does in draft. But other than that, I think this team is pretty good overall. I think his defensive core is nice. I think maybe the Kilowattrel pick and some of the bottom mons are pretty bad. I don't think Kilowattrel is necessarily bad. I just think that it was unnecessary with his speed already being what it is, but yeah, it's okay.
I know for most of the draft, I think Brian was drafting for him, so this is basically Brian's team.
Yeah.
But I do like the Lycanroc Dusk pick. I think that priority and its coverage is actually really good in this meta. Rock priority has always been like a pretty niche but pretty strong priority to have. I do wish it was is Terra Captain, because I feel like you could make do with like Rock Terra or even like the Fighting or Fairy Terra with its coverage already. It could be pretty strong with Tough Claws.
I don't know. I think my main concern for this team is that I don't know. Whenever I think of Dragapult teams, the main thing that comes to mind is that it's like a momentum core with Dragapult. It wants to be able to enable big threats, but it kind of needs kind of wants a slow pivot to help it like form that core, and they never really got one. Robjr doesn't get a way of pivoting anymore, right?
No,
sure it doesn't.
It lost teleport. Yeah.
But, like this team really might have a lot of trouble getting in some of these frailer, faster threats, which could limit their viability. I mean, they got some powerful Pokemon. You get them in, they're gonna do a lot of work.
This team looks pretty ground weak overall. Now,
think of-
Sablo going a little overtime.
I think a fair amount of teams are ground weak. I mean, Ting Lu could probably take any combo of hits for the most part, along with Slowbro. But yeah, I mean, I think Dragapult can still facilitate, at least with like Sneasler and Chiyu and Lycanroc Dusk. But I can see potential matchups where Dragapult's going to be pretty relied upon. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Sneasler would do. I think that mon's pretty good. Poison, is it poison fighting type?
Yeah.
Like poison touch, U-turn. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that mon will do, especially Chiyu. I think Chiyu's speed is, it can be checked because it's like only base 100. But I haven't done any calcs, but I've heard this mon's pretty cracked offensively.
Dude, all I'm saying is, I was playing on the ladder on day 1. I switched my Garchomp into a Fire Blast from this thing. It was only running Scarf. I did over half.
Yeah, bro. This one is kind of wild.
It's kind of crazy.
I heard Specs Overheat from this mon can 2-shot a Slowking.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that mon a demon. Anyways, okay. How about we move on to the next team?
All right.
We have Legit. His team consists of Chien-Pao, Dragonite Terra, Goldango, Glimmora, Palmot, Quagsire, Volcarona, Gyarados, which has Terra, and then Lurantis and Oranguru. Now, just looking at this team, right? This is definitely, I think, the best team so far. This month, like this team is just very well crafted and has a lot of just demons on it. I would hate playing this team. Number one, he just has really good hazard setters in Glimmora and Quag. That's number one. Number two, Goldango blocking the spin and the defog is just very useful as well. And then I think his Terramons that just make it just super overwhelming. Like both Dragonite and Gyarados are super threatening with Terra. And also with the speed too, like with Chien-Pao. I think that his only main problem I see is that his speed gap between Chien-Pao and Volcarona is pretty big.
Whoa. Palmot is right in between.
Right.
Okay.
That's not a mon, bro. That's not a mon.
Come on, man.
That's just budget Zeraora, man.
That's not
exactly.
That mon is doing one thing.
It's better Zeraora. It can actually hit ground types.
That mon is doing one thing ever. No, I'm just kidding. I think Palmot is fine. But even still, I think Chien-Pao and Palmot is still a kind of a big speed gap. I think he needed maybe like 115, somewhere around there.
There's not a lot of good Pokemon in that speed bracket.
Excuse you, Mousehold.
Okay, if you want to draft a Mousehold for that, be my guest, man. So you.
He definitely has a lot of like setup.
Yeah, he has a really good setup options, which is really nice.
And he has like that key unaware ability as well, especially if people try to counteract it. Yeah, I kind of agree. Dragonite, Gyarados, very threatening Terra users. I've already seen Dragonite in action. I kind of am intrigued on the Gyarados. Like obviously with Intimidate and then like changing type, it can definitely benefit it, and it can set up in a multitude of ways. But obviously with Moxie now as well, with Terra, that mon looks pretty tough to check if you can't guess the typing properly. Because at this point, you can't really use electric coverage.
Yeah, definitely a threat for sure. Yeah, this team is just good overall. Only removal is Lurantis, but I think it's okay.
Oh, Glimmora gets the
yeah, that is true. Okay, so yeah, he's shown. I like this team. Good team.
Yeah, this team's really well constructed.
It's very
Maybe, maybe
offensive. I don't think he necessarily
Yeah.
needs like switch-ins to things. I feel like offensively he can kind of just maintain the pace, and he can use things in like a pseudo bulky manner, especially with his Terramons.
I
Definitely
agree.
has some natural bulk on here, so it's not even
Yeah.
that bad. Like, you know, like
I
coding
agree. His team may very heavily rely on defensive Terra Dragonite because I can see a lot of top threats he just doesn't have switch-ins or answers to. So we gonna see about that. He's gonna need to
I
be
don't think it's that bad, bro.
nah, bro. I'm looking at
What's his switch into
bundle,
the Valiant, bro?
looking at bundle. I'm looking
Valiant?
Bundle
at
too,
Falcon.
yeah.
Bro, like,
I'm
he's got
looking at
E-Speed, Chin Pow, he's got Go Dingo.
Wait.
bro.
Oh, I thought you said E-Speed Chen Pal. I was like, what?
No.
He
Yo,
doesn't have a
that would be
either.
wild.
Like it's kind of tough.
Got Gyarados tanks. I don't think it's that bad.
I could see him using a defensive type Terra on Dragonite a lot of games, which is fine. But I think very
don't think that's bad either.
Dragonite gonna be popping. But anyways,
But yeah, I guess we can move on to the next one.
yeah.
So next is Blitz. So he has Roaring Moon, who has no Terra access, Lando I, Mew, Rotom Wash, Rillaboom, Toxapex, Arcanine, Ditto, Electrode, and Hisuian Sneasel, with Mew and Arcanine being his Terra captains.
I think this is a very Blitz-esque draft. I feel like I've seen this exact draft, except with Roaring Moon, like back in Gen 8. Like, I don't know.
He definitely likes using. I mean, I've seen him use Mew, Rillaboom, Lando I a lot in the past.
Yeah.
Roaring Moon's interesting. I'm not sure how good that mon will be. Because without Terra access, its coverage is pretty. Well, its coverage is like okay, but its stabs and like its coverage moves are not really that strong. It's just a really fast mon that I think could definitely be a decent breaker, but
have good mons to help Roaring Moon, in my opinion.
He does not.
I don't know. Like his ways of pressuring fairies consists of Lando I. Like that's it.
What?
Young
Got a
Pex,
whole
bro.
Toxapex. Yeah,
Bro,
come on.
Toxapex is not pressuring a fairy. Are you kidding me?
That's what you think.
I think
You're just using Pex the wrong way. That's what I'm hearing.
No, I do like his pivoting core, but I don't know. I think the Mew pick and the Toxapex pick could have been something different, in my opinion. But that's just me.
I do very
I don't
much
think
like.
it's that bad.
I do very much like the Rillaboom. That was a mon I was looking at as well. I was pretty high on it, getting Trailblaze access with SD. And if it was a Terra user, you could break through with like Terra Electric versus the flying types. And then I guess any other coverage you technically needed in the matchup.
Terra Electric kind of slaps.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about the ground types.
Terra Mew is pretty cool though. I like that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nightmare to prep. I feel like you can't really prep for that mon at all with Terra access because like it can basically be any type with its specific coverage.
Unaware mons, their stocks went up because how are you gonna check this demon? I don't know.
Ah man, you gotta check it offensively, bro. You gotta pack that priority, the scoffers.
The best thing is Mew doesn't have recovery anymore, so that's clean.
I mean, it still has rest, but yeah.
And it's a lot less scary because you're not worried about it like walling all of your attempts at checking it.
He does have Ditto as well to help counteract, I guess, any other setup. But I haven't really seen a Ditto be used effectively. I've seen like Ditto with Terra potentially. Like that's a pretty interesting concept, but
it does sound very fascinating.
It sounds pretty niche.
You'd have to predict the correct Terra so that you can actually copy this, right? Or like make use of it.
Well, I think you can just turn into whatever Terra you have for your Ditto.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, right? Like,
Yeah.
it depends on what you're copying. Because, like, say you're copying their Terra threat, you'd have to have the same Terra type to actually like properly copy them.
Yeah. I just look at his team and I feel like it doesn't feel like he used all of his points, but he did.
Bro, them Tox picks, Wash Mew picks were expensive. Plus the what was it, 19 and 18 pointers?
18.
Yeah. Rilla was 12. I don't know where Arcanine was.
He has about 7.
I can understand.
He has 7 months. That's it. Which I think a lot of teams are like that. But
I think a fair amount of teams were between like 7 and 9. Like,
ideally, you want
bringable
8
mons.
real mons. He has about 7.
Yeah, I think 8 is a good number to hit, because like after that, it's just pretty niche, like matchup dependent mons.
Yeah. All right.
I guess we can move down to the second half of the Yodie gang conference.
Yeah.
So we have Pyronox. So he has Regieleki, Palafin, Cyclozar, Heatran, Espathra, Halucha, Thwacky, I think it's Doxbun, Driftblim, Knacklestack, Clodsire, and Hisuian Samurott, with Driftblim and Regieleki Terra Captains. Yo, someone is steaming up a storm in the PC. I think it's Haba.
Oh, my bad.
No worries, no worries. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this team? First of all, I gotta say, presentation wise, it bothers me a lot.
Bro,
he does this every season where he drafts like 1 pointers in the middle of his draft, and then he finishes them off with like high point or like mid tier Pokemon. I don't know. Aesthetically, it bothers me. But yeah.
Now looking at this team, right? I think on paper this team looks very strange on paper, but I think this team low key got some real threats on it. Like, for example, right? Number one, we already know about Cyclozar and its shed tail shenanigans. But I think shed tail into things like Palafin, Espatra, Halucha, like just enabling those threats is just really big. I know that he was trying to get Rillaboom but got sniped. And I think Rillaboom definitely would have made this team way better over Thwacky, but you just got to do what you got to do. But I think overall, he just has a lot of very scary setup mobs that I don't know if teams will be able to handle. But yeah.
The offense definitely looks like it could be overwhelming, especially with Cyclozar. Cyclozar's utility. He's a pretty creative builder, so every time I see his teams, I kind of just understand that Mon is there for a reason, and I should probably be concerned about it.
Yeah.
I do like, I was gonna say, I do like the Samurott pick. Having a move that can just set up spikes just from attacking is pretty useful. You don't have to like passively set up a spike or wait for a turn where you can force a switch out. You kind of just attack, get damage, get a spike up.
Yeah, is it just me, or is this team like extremely ground weak?
It is, yeah. That's why he needed he really needed that Rillaboom.
Yeah.
Without it, he's very much relying on Halucha and Thwacky for ground answers, and I don't know if that's really that good.
No, I don't think they're really good ground answers. So we're probably going to struggle with that this season.
I feel like I don't know. I like his top 6, but I think the bottom 6 could have definitely been changed up to be a little bit more efficient. But like I don't think Clodsire really fits necessarily on this team other than its typing. But because it's like a very offensive team, and then you just have Clodsire, which is just fat. So I don't know, but I can see why he wanted it for hazards and typing, but it's just kind of awkward to me on this team.
I guess he could have been slightly afraid of like some of the top threats, maybe like Valiant or even Zama.
I don't think Clodsire is a great check to those ones. His phys def is pretty lacking.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the problem with Clodsire is it's low defense, and also it's not necessarily passive because it has unaware and toxic, but its offensive stats are just really bad. So it's like it's checking them on, but unless you can toxic them, you're really not doing any damage. But yeah.
And I guess there was also
odd.
yeah, and I guess there was also the hidden gem people found. It wasn't on the tier list originally, but Knuckle Stack for 1 point. I think there was like the calc of like Specs Pult doing like less than a quarter for this mod.
Oh, that mod is fat. That's the ghost check right there.
I don't know how viable it is outside of just pivoting in.
It's unfortunate he couldn't pair Espatra, because if that mod could have been teared, that definitely would have just even more heightened this team's threat level. But
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if you're drafting a Lucky, you're going to need to tear it. So yeah.
And that could just be also the downside of any Alecki team is you're basically foregoing any other Terra, like relevant Terra abuser above, what, like 6 points?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Terra Palafin and Espatra would have been very nice. But yeah. I think overall this team it's interesting.
It's definitely offensive in nature.
Yeah, offensive, very niche team, but I could see it maybe pulling out some wins. But yeah, next up, we're gonna dive into Ethann's team.
All right, for Ethann or Toxic, he has Iron Bundle, Garchomp, Scizor, Cinderace, Thundee, Iron Jugulus, Diancie, Amoonguss, Tatsugiri, and Vigoroth, with Thundee and Iron Jugulus as his Terra captains.
This is another very offensive team. It's interesting. Like, I think I really like its speed. It has some really good natural speed. Going from like Iron Bundle to Cinderace, Thundurus, Iron Jugulus, Garchomp. His really only defensive oriented mods are like Garchomp and Amoonguss, and I guess Diancie, which should be suitable enough.
I mean, Amoonguss is pretty solid.
Yeah,
kind of checks some of the top physical threats.
It's good with an offensive team like this that he has pretty solid priority overall with like Prankster and Bullet Punch, Sucker Punch. But
Bullet Punch is definitely good for some of the top threat. Or at least some of the new threats, like the ice types in particular. But like with the reduction and some of the viability of fairy types, or even the use of fairy types, I don't see as much of a use for Bullet Punch. But priority is still priority.
Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Habaduh?
I think it's a good team from top to bottom. It's not that much wrong with it. I don't think it's bad that his team is so offensively orientated. He kind of lacks some switch-ins to certain Pokemon, but I think he'll be fine because he can just overwhelm those teams before they beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And he can still use like some mods like Chomp and Moongus as kind of like a blanket check. But
yeah, I think he has good glue pieces to enable his team, so he'll be good.
What I like about his team is that I feel like every mon is bringable, which I haven't been able to say for some of the other teams.
I don't know if Tatsugiri and Vigoroth are necessarily bringable. They may have one game, but he does have at least a good solid 8 months, which I like.
I think Tatsu will have its matchups. I mean, with Spin, Plot, can definitely
Spin
be
Plot,
dangerous.
120 special attack, bro. It can't be that bad.
It's not terrible, sure.
I'm interested to see how Iron Jugulus will do this season. Obviously, no Roost access, but it's basically just kind of a faster. Well, I don't even think it has plot either. I think it's just a faster non-setup version of like Gmolt.
Yeah, it's like I feel like Iron Jugulus was kind of a luxurious type pick, but it's okay.
I mean, at that point, it probably depended on like what dark types were available. He probably didn't like anything else that was there, and he kind of just went with it. But interested to see what it does with Terra access. Not to mention he has the broken Iron Bundle. He's gonna bundle up teams all season.
Yeah, it's decent.
And I think that's
kind of crazy.
I think that's also something to point out. Like his pivoting, across his team is pretty good. Gives his bundle a chance to kind of take advantage of most situations.
Yeah, he has some good pivoting.
I mean, outside of Gachomp, his top 7 all have pivot moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
But yeah, solid team. Next up, we're gonna dive into Vesta's team, the previous champion of last LD season,
Defending champ. But he has Tornty, Baxcalibur, Slowking, Zarude, Donphan, Gengar, Orthworm, Florges, Lucario, and Frostmoth, with Tornty and Lucario as his Terra captains. Does anyone want to start talking about this team?
I like every pick up until Gengar. Unfortunately.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, bro.
Hating on Gengar?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like Gengar. Now it might be doing something. I'm not a huge fan of that mon.
I mean, it is a ghost type.
I feel like this team. Maybe I think Gengar is ultimately okay, but I just feel like this team really fell off after Gengar. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that.
Bottom picks at all.
I do think the first 5 are really good. I think Donphan is a really solid spinner in this generation, just like its Paradox counter Paradox forms. Slowking with Chilly Reception into Baxcalibur sounds incredibly obnoxious given how bulky this mon actually is. I almost kind of view it as the Gen 9 Kyurem Black in a way.
Disrespectful, bro.
Yo, how's that disrespectful?
That mon won't compare to Kyurem Black. No need to make the comparison. Now this mon
this Pokemon's menacing.
This mon is good for sure.
Like, you can basically tailor it to not die to like any particular hit, and then it'll just kill something back. I really like those type of mons, especially paired with his regen core, Torn and Slowking. Zarude got access to Swords Dance. I think it got Trailblaze as well, so it's still very threatening in that regard. And then Gengar, I thought Gengar was an odd pick as well. But I guess he picked it up for the Ghost Grounded Poison, but I think it also got access to T-Spikes this generation, so he does have his T-Spike access if needed. I think Orthworm is also pretty good. It's pretty niche with its ability. I don't think anyone really drafts it for Shedtail. I know some people try to do that. But I feel like it's just better as kind of just like a hazard setter, ground absorber type of pivot mon. And then you got Florges. I don't like Florges. I think that mon is pretty
I feel
meh.
like I can maybe understand for the wish pass, but I feel like he definitely could have made Florges into something else. Like I don't know. I feel like this team could have had definitely a better bottom other than Florges and Lucario and Frostmoth. So that's just me.
He probably wants Florges because his Dragon Resists are kind of lacking, and Orthworm is really only good at switching into physical things.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was getting at. And I think
Like,
he probably could have gotten away with Slowking and then just chilling out into something that can punish the
I mean,
dragons. But
he's also pretty. In a sense, I guess he's kind of weak to Urshifu, even though he has a way like Torn to check it. He doesn't really have any solid pivot, and at least Florges can kind of do that. Yeah. Lucario is a pretty interesting offensive Terra user. I think it's pretty good. With like a lot of key coverage moves and typings it can abuse, especially with priority.
Yeah. Terra only helps it defensively though, because Lucario is kind of slow, and I don't know if this mon really needs the Terra coverage. So I mean, it might be nice to like stop like a CC from killing you if you Terra into like Ghost or something. But I don't know if it's like.
It's in the main idea. I assumed that the main point of Terra Lucario was stabby speed to get around the lack of speed.
Yeah, that's another option too.
Yeah.
I mean, it also has dual stab priority, doesn't it? Like Bullet Punch and Vacuum Wave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lucario is definitely a solid mon for sure. I mainly like the Baxcalibur Slowking core. I think that's just a good core overall. Like the chilly reception boosting that mon's defense and giving it ice body too is just very solid. But yeah,
what's its other ability? I don't even remember.
It's the fire.
It's only those two, right?
That fire ability, and then ice body.
Ice body kind of goes crazy.
Ice body kind of goes crazy.
Yeah. Ice body
would be unkillable in hell.
It's really good. Yeah, that's definitely super solid. I like that. But yeah, I think this is it's an okay draft. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing, but it should be functional.
I do think it's pretty. I like the power output at least. Seems pretty Baxcalibur reliant, at least from my analysis.
Can see that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's obviously hard to tell. You have to see it in action. But I think depending on matchups, he might be like forced into like certain Scarpers or really have to rely on priority.
With Torn, Slowking, Zarude, and Donphan, I really feel like he could have gotten some more offensive threats at the bottom.
I don't know. I think you guys are kind of sleeping on the Terraton. That guy's not weak at all.
Oh, no, I know it's a demon.
Yeah.
For sure. I just think that he could have definitely got some even more scary mons towards the bottom. But yeah. Anyways,
that's fair.
We're gonna move on to Sean's draft.
All right. My team includes Spectrier, Great Tusk, Quaquavel, Iron Moth, Klefki, Mesprit, Iron Thorns, Galar Moltres, Hisuian Sliggoo, and Sawsbuck with Quaquavel and Iron Thorns as my Terra captains.
Jumping.
Yeah, I like to hear what you guys think of it. Because I'll add some stuff after my revelations post draft.
Just from analysis, right? This team is, as we'll see later on, is kind of similar to mine. But at the same time, I like the offensive approach. I think you got some good setup mons. as well as like just a lot of good like it's a lot of fat mons that have some good setup potential with especially with key screens and messer screens as well. Um, I think my one issue is the fact that whatchamacallit, Spectre doesn't have Terra. I think with Spectre not having Terra, it's kind of like a little bit lackluster. It's not terrible, just a little bit lackluster. But yeah, that's about it.
Do you have any thoughts to add?
No, I feel like this team to me kind of similar vibes to like a Legit's team, where it's like just really well balanced in terms of natural bulk, immediate offense, setup, utility, etc. It's
Yeah,
just well made.
good pivoting,
Yeah.
eyes removal on point. I like it.
Yup. I think it's a good build.
I'd like to just add. I know I debated Spectre, and I would have had to do Mesprit as my. I mean, I think it might have been like Sliggoo or Sawsbuck with Spectre. I don't remember. But yeah, I would have had to Terra that combination, and I feel like I wasn't getting great value out of the other picks that I had, especially Iron Thorns. I thought that Mon would be a little bit lackluster without Terra access, especially with its typing. It could be walled pretty easily by certain ground types. So I ended up tearing that with Quaquaval. I think Quaquaval can definitely make use of it in particular matchups as well. I don't think Spectre needs Terra, like you said. I think the fact that it got Draining Kiss allows it to beat down on specific dark types, especially with Calm Mind, with Wisp as well. Being able to heal things off, um, especially with how its stat distribution is. Its defense being so low, you don't have to really invest in your HP per se. And that keeps it pretty low for DKIS to be more effective. But yeah, when I was preparing for my week 1 matchup, I did kind of feel like I missed having Terra on Spectre, but it was more so of like, oh, this would be easier if I had it, but I didn't feel like it was necessary per se.
That
But
makes
yeah.
sense. I don't know. I'm personally of the opinion that I think two mid-tier Terra Pokemon are generally higher value than committing it to your top mon, because your top mon can perform without it. I don't think Spectre is an exception. I think the only top mon that really needs it would be Reggie.
Yeah.
I think this makes a lot of sense from that perspective.
Also, my last 2 picks were kind of just filler matchup specific mons. Well, I guess Sliggoo was. Sawsbuck was just cool, so I just picked it up. But yeah, I don't really want to give too much away, so I guess we'll move on to the last draft from Yodie Gang, and that is Sablo. He has Urshifu Single Strike, Galar Slowking, Enamorous Incarnate, Corviknight, Serena, the Goat, Dondozo, Sandy Shocks, Inteleon, Annihilate, Dunsparce, and Masquerain with Urshifu and Dunsparce as his Terra captains.
So for this team, I like it. I like the defensive backbone. Pretty nice. My one issue is just the speed. I feel like it's very heavily relying on like a Scarf Chifu for speed. I don't think Inteleon is going to be super every game, especially not with Terra. So it's like it should be fine because the team has a pretty good defensive core of like Soul King, the Dozo, Corviknight. But yeah, I like the Annihilate pick though, with basically blocking the hazard removal. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like some of the picks don't really mesh together. They're kind of just there. Like Inteleon, for example, I thought that was just kind of picked up for speed purposes. I understand it also gets like screens as well. Yeah, Annihilate, I guess, could kind of alleviate Urshifu in that like Scarfer role. Annihilate can definitely abuse it more with its I think its move or ability. I don't remember um, what that particular mechanic was. Where every time it takes
Rage Fist. That's
yeah
the
Rage
move, I think.
Fist. Yeah. Um, we'll see later on, but like I see there was another Corviknight Dondozo Sandy Shocks team. Um, um, I mean, I think the core is pretty decent. I think Sandy Shocks is a little bit underrated. It's pretty fast and has access to spikes and rocks, momentum. It's kind of just like a more offensive Stunfisk with kind of retaining a similar bulky spread on its stat distribution. Um, and then with like Dondozo, I think this is probably the most under tiered Mon that we had. I think it was only 7 points. I definitely think we probably should have raised it. It basically can check most of the meta, which is pretty insane.
Yeah. I think if
Um,
he would have used the points he spent on Serena and Annihilate and Teleon and just gotten some better natural speed, I would have liked this team a lot more.
yeah, the Serena pick seems kind of random. I don't really rate Serena as a rapid spinner in the first place.
I don't think he needed the spin ultimately. I think he would.
Yeah, it's running spin on a Corviknight team like that, or like at least reaching for it, seems kind of pointless. Defeats the whole point of having Corv, I feel.
Yeah, I don't. I just feel like the Serena pick was unnecessary. But yeah, he definitely
Yeah,
could have. I feel like he could have combined some mons into some better mons.
yeah. I feel like by the end, people kind of just wanted to fill certain roles they hadn't like gotten, like whether it be like specific typings or I guess another rocker or something like that. I feel like at the end he needed that normal type. I'm interested to see how regular Dunsparce is with the Violate, with Glare, Rocks as well, and then Masquerain with Webs. Um, but yeah, I'm not like too high on this draft, but I think it's just because I don't like Corviknight as a Pokemon that it really
Wait,
throws
bro, no,
throws me off aesthetically.
no hate.
I think my main problem with the draft isn't I don't like Corviknight either, but more than that, I'm kind of concerned just because the speed tests are a little wonky with so many things that like are ridiculously fast now. Kind of want to
Some
have
of the
those down
cons,
packed,
yeah, that
and like
cons are on the same speed as well.
yeah, I think it's that in combination with his lack of priority to compensate for that just makes it look really scary. If something
Yeah,
gets out of hand against his team, he's really just dependent on Dondozo rolling it. Otherwise, he's probably a bit screwed.
yeah, and he has a lot of strong breakers between like Urshifu and Namorous, and well, I guess that's kind of it. But I feel like those Mons definitely might be forced into that Scarf roll, which lowers his overall power output, and then he's kind of left with these like defensive Mons like Corviknight, which I guess not really it's not really passive because you can slow U-turn, taunt as well. But I feel like some of these mons might not force enough progress, and he's kind of gonna have to really rely on specifically Urshifu to kind of carry um, through this season.
Okay, now let's move on to
But I guess
player.
before we move on, what would you say is your favorite slash you think is the best draft from this conference out of the 10?
My favorite is Legits.
Yeah, I think it's between you and Legits for me. Probably favor his. I think his setup threats are a little scarier.
Yeah, I
Top
definitely.
three.
definitely rate other people's drafts over mine, just mainly because I think all my drafts always have some inherent hole, but I think this entire generation, people are going to have that regardless.
Top 3 drafts, the Jets, Ethann, and you. Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
I
Now,
guess we'll
like
move on to the victims conference.
the better conference, you know.
At a conference, worst name.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, why'd you call us victims, man? This is the
We all
stupidest
gonna
name
be,
of all time.
we all gonna be victims of something, whether it's to each other or to this meta or to these demons. We all gonna be victims.
I definitely think the lineup
Yeah,
in this
you might.
conference is very fun. I have a lot of friends and people I kind of wanted to battle that I haven't battled yet. So a bit jealous there, but you guys had a plethora of interesting drafts as well.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
we'll start with the first one, and that was TJ, and he had first pick Iron Valiant yet again, Dragonite, Cinderace, Zarude, Espathra, Cleavor, Quagsire, Quillfish, Copperaja, Bramblegast, and Electrode with Dragonite and Espathra Terra Captains.
So with this team, he has a very, very good Terra Captains, number one. His Terra Captains are on point. Both very scary. And those was combined with like Valiant, I think will be very dangerous for a lot of teams. But yeah. His
Help.
hazard removal is kind of bad.
I don't even know what has removal. I guess Bramblegast, Cinderace.
Bramblegast. Yeah.
Port change, and Bramblegast, which Bramblegast is almost never coming. So it's really Court Chain Cinderace. So I'm not a huge fan of that. Oh wait, I think Cleavor has defog too, which is kind of nice. But yeah, that's about it. It's not super reliable, but yeah.
I think his offense is pretty good with like Valiant, Dragonite, of course, with Terra is just really scary. I feel like it's very tough to prep for as well. Espathra is pretty threatening with that busted psychic move that it got.
It don't even run that, bro. It
Yeah.
runs stored.
It runs Star Power.
Yeah.
That's how dangerous that mod is.
Yeah, I like the pivoting as well to get things in like Valiant or even Dragonite. I guess his rockers are kind of like they're mainly low tier pickups. Depends like how he wants to fit them in on his offensive draft. He's definitely going to be losing something by benching something in his like top 4 or 5. But yeah,
I wish TJ would have gotten a ghost. That's not Bramblegast.
he also doesn't have a
Bramblegast?
also doesn't have a
The
normal,
problem-
but I don't think that matters
Like,
a whole lot.
I feel like if he would have gotten like a better ghost type or defiant user or something to like stop hazard removal more, definitely would have been way better. But I mean, this is still a very threatening team. I like it overall. Has good defensive niches and very good offensive mons.
Yeah, I think he did mention that he wanted King Gambit at some point, but he ultimately didn't go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this draft is fine. Good.
I like its speed tiers as well. I forget how fast the spot there is, but I don't think that matters with speed boost.
It's 105.
That's the same as Zarude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he utilizes Valiant with Dragonite as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can move on to Tort. He has Zamazenta Crowned, Lando Eye, Slowking, Glamora, Hydreigon, Satitan, Gardevoir, Ditto, Lurantis, and Oinkologne Male, with his Hydreigon and Satitan being his Terra captains.
For this draft, I really like his top 6. And then the bottom 4 just really disappoint me.
I don't think the bottom 4 is that bad.
They just disappoint me, bro. I just feel like he could have gotten some really good mods with those bottom 4, but instead he have to. I mean, I don't think Gardevoir is a bad mod. I just think that there definitely could have been like some better options. I don't know.
Hey, Gardevoir. That's okay.
Top 6 is definitely good.
Yeah, there's another case of Slowking with a setup ice type, like before it was Baxcalibur, now it's with Satitan. I think its only setup is Belly Drum, but it does get Ice Shard, and Slush Rush, and then a bunch of
that mod is a
defensive
demon.
abilities. Yeah,
especially with Terra, that mod is going to be a threat for sure.
It's another case of Zama without like really solid wish support. I mean, you have Gardevoir, but I think the Healing Wish from Gardevoir is probably what he aimed for when he got it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
My problem is, well, the Titan having Terra definitely makes it a lot more viable in most matchups. But my main problem is just that he really has about 7 mons. Like, and I feel like Gardevoir is borderline. So, like, I don't know. I feel like the mons he brings is going to be very predictable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still think Gardevoir is pretty good. It's a pretty niche defensive mon, but I don't know how it'll do with all like the new powerful threats. But I think most teams really can't handle those in the first place, or not as well. I don't know if Lurantis kept defog, if that's why he got it.
Yeah,
I do. Although it lost superpower.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
It's a bit tough.
Yeah, I mean, Leaf Storm set will still be okay, but it's not really the greatest.
And then it's like a small thing, but I'm kind of shocked he got Oinkologne Male. I thought the female one was better, at least with like how its stats were distributed. But that's like a minor critique.
The thing is, he could have easily just gotten like, to me, I would have definitely. I mean, Ditto is okay. I've never been a fan of drafting Ditto because I think that it's just a mon that forces prep, and unless you have just a really reliable team of like 8 or 9 mons and you throw on a Ditto, I think that's fine. But I just feel like he definitely could have utilized the points of Ditto, Lurantis, and the Pig way better. But yeah.
That's always the bummer of drafting Ditto. You sacrifice a bit of your points for a mon that potentially does nothing and will never come. I mean, even in prep, sometimes people just don't care about it because they're like, it's just not going to come. It's not going to be effective in whatever it's copying. Like, I won't get reverse swept by anything in particular. So I feel like Ditto only ends up being like a point drainer, if anything. And he probably could have combined that with like Oinkologne and got something else, and then like got like maybe a random 1-pointer at the end, because there were some steals in the 1-point tier.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I think Greedent was probably better than Oinkologne, and Greedent was cheaper.
Yeah, I think he could have just combined Ditto and Lurantis and the 2 points of Oinkologne into one solid mon, and then just gotten like 2 1-pointers and been done. But yeah, that's about it. I pray for his team when he fights Shifu, though. Praying for him. Kind of rough.
Seems like Haba's having some internet issues. We'll hopefully have him join back with us.
I'm right here. I've returned.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, I guess we can move on to the next draft. And this is a very interesting draft. A lot of new mons on it. That belongs to II. He has Tornti, Palafin, Ursaluna, Palmot, Toadscruel, Skeledirge, Tinkaton, Mesprit, Skuntank, Haxorus, and Hisui and Sneasel, with Tornti and Skeledirge Terra Captains. Very good Terra Captains there.
Now, this is definitely just, I think, a case of wanting to try new mons, which I can't blame him. Unfortunately, I think he got some kind of. Honestly, the mons that he has are not bad in of themselves, but at the same time, mons like Toadscruel is just kind of bad, and like, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how well like Palmot will be. But I mean, his top 3 are pretty good. It's kind of weird because his like hazards are coming from the likes of like Mesprit and Tinkaton, and I guess Toadscruel as well, but they're not really mons that like are really that great. But I guess when you have like the team that you have, it's not really that bad. Like one of these mons are coming, I guess. Very, very just weird looking team on paper. I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be bad in practice. It's just weird looking.
It's definitely very colorful, so it draws my eye in very quickly, and then when I look closer, there's some mons I feel like I'm not too sure how good they're gonna be. The first being Toadscruel. I actually wanted this to be lowered in points. I didn't think this mon would be amazing. Its typing is pretty bad, grass ground, with a lot of things getting like Ice Spinner as like a coverage move this generation. And its ability is so poor. Like I think it can't get status or something like that, but all of its
no, so you
but
can
like all of
status
its
things that are normally immune to status.
Oh, okay. So you can status things that are normally immune, but all of its status moves. So that includes like Spore, Spikes, Rocks, Leech Seed. Like all of those are like negative priority, and I think that's pretty bad for a mon that's supposed to be kind of like it's a fast mon too. Like you would think like you want those things.
Is it its status moves as in status the category?
I think it's status
Yeah,
the category. Yeah.
The category? Oh wait, this
But
mon
like
is
you can collect status moves against like a magic bounce Pokemon. Is what
There's no way, bro.
Yeah, no, it's not a good
idea. I thought it was just status moves as in Toxic and Spore.
No.
Oh my! If I would have known this mon would have been about 6 points.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 or 9 on the board.
I don't know why it's so high.
I just think for a mon that's designed to be fast like regular Tentacruel, I understand it's a spinner, so I guess that's kind of why it could be where it is, but I think the typing is bad. Or I guess it's pretty niche, and then like having negative priority on moves like Spore Hazards, you can basically just get taunted, and this mon does really nothing.
This is unfortunate.
Tragic.
But yeah, I think this team is okay.
I do like Skeledirge as a Terra Captain. I know this mon with another unaware mon that can also change its typing to suit like a defensive role on the team. I think it'll be pretty good. Probably one of like you can definitely check some of the top threats like Iron Valiant. I guess Zama as well.
And this is your D-Knight chick too.
Yeah, because you can Terra into like a fairy type.
Mm-hmm.
It probably checks Roaring Moon too.
It can. Well, I mean, any mon with unaware that's fat and has Terra can check.
And I know this thing also definitely checks GMPal. Recall correctly, pretty sure he just eats everything.
With what type? Water?
Water or Fairy. He's ridiculously fat, man.
I don't know, but we
No,
gonna
dude,
see.
just I ran like Pterodactyl Crunch, and this thing took like 80 something on the ladder, and that's when it was a ghost type.
But he has some pretty good like offensive threats. Like his first three, I think Palmot could be decent as well. Haxorus is always a demon. Doesn't really need Terra as well because of the coverage it gets. And then like Healing Wish with Mesprit, you can heal up things like Palafin or Saluna, give them another round. Um,
Honestly, if you remove Toad Scroll and Skuntank, this team is not bad.
yeah, Skuntank I think lost Defog, but it did gain Toxic Spikes. But I
Oh
think
man,
it
Skunk Tank's the best sack in the game. There's nothing wrong with
yeah
that.
Aftermath. It does get Sucker Punch as
Yep.
well, which is pretty key, I guess. It's a key priority to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this team will do.
Now let's dive into this next team.
All right, and next up we have Aster J and his team of Roaring Moon, No Terra, Goldango, Fundy Eye, Amoonguss, Diancie, Donphan, Volcanion, Farigarath, Bruxish, Galar Zapdos, and Frostmoth, with Fundy Eye and Volcanion as his Terra captains.
Now this team is peculiar to me because it had a really good start, I feel like. But I think that he really should have capitalized on some good hazard setting. Other than Diancie. Like I feel like Diancie is definitely good with spikes, but I don't know if Diancie is a mon you bring to every game like that. So ultimately, the hazard setting is going to be coming from Donphan. And I just feel like when you have Goldango and then you have Zapdos as well, I think, and Thunderous as well with Defiant, I think that you really could have gotten. I feel like you should have just prioritized getting and some good ones. But he
Prioritize
didn't.
getting what? You kind of cut out.
Oh, hazard setters.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and also too, I think that I mean for Rigarath is okay. And I guess Volcanion is also fine, but I just feel like that third row of those mons with Bruxish could have easily been something different and probably better. But yeah,
I feel like
that's
his
about it.
team kind of looks like he went down the tier list and kind of kind of looked for like mons he thought were under tiered or of like were really good value, and he just picked those mons and prioritized them. Um, and I feel like a lot of these things kind of went early, like Amoonguss, Diancie, um, and then yeah, I think like I'm not sure how Fergaraf will do. I think what's a normal psychic type. Um,
I mean, it's bulky with Wish, so it's not bad.
oh, it does get Wish. Oh, that's pretty neat. Um, Bruxish. I mean, Bruxish is okay. It's not something like I'd look to put on a draft. Um, Frostmoth. That's definitely someone's bundle check. I presume.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, it does a pretty good job, to be honest.
to be fair, he does have Volcanion as well. Like Freeze Dry is not really doing too much to that.
Volcanion.
That's true.
Volcanion doesn't have the split def, I don't think.
I mean,
I
you can
mean,
invest.
you're only hitting it with freeze dry though, right? It's not a strong move.
Oh, Ice Beam too.
Actually, yeah, well, it's a water fire type.
Yeah, Ice Beam doing nothing.
Wait. Oh wait, no. Volcanion is the tech. Wait, why did he get Frostmoth?
Yeah, I
That's
don't
a great
know.
question.
Wait. My bad.
Volcanion also gets only Mon to learn Scald in this generation.
To go. Unfortunately, he will not be running Scold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why are you ever running Scald over Steam Eruption? Like, what were they thinking?
But I do like the Roaring Moon Goldango combo. I feel like they kind of complement each other. especially
Yeah,
with
that's
like the others' kind of resistances in a sense.
I mean, that's basically like just the perfect core right there.
That's
yeah,
basically
it's a good
Hydreigon
draw.
Aegislash.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but the moon doesn't have the levitate ability.
That's true. That's true.
my issue is I just feel like Steam. It's just I don't know.
I
This
can
definitely can be
I can
okay,
see it
but
being underwhelming defensively. I mean, offensively. I mean,
I feel like it's just missed potential. Missed potential. Definitely could have been better.
Aster sees things in a different way. So I mean, it's hard for us to understand everyone's justification for their pick,
Mm.
and like what particularly they're trying to use something for. It is a new generation, so um, open to seeing like new combos or strategies come to
I'd
life.
say. But one thing I would say is I haven't seen any egregiously bad teams, but maybe that's just because it's a new gen, so everything looks semi-viable. But I mean, I could see this team definitely pulling some wins. I just think that it definitely could have been a lot more scary. But yeah, that's it.
I do like the Zapdos pick at the end though. That's a good mon. I feel like it complements. Well, not complements. It kind of handles some notable threats. Um,
This is good.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
also a Defiant user as well. I did forget about that. He has two of them.
yeah.
Ugh.
Just not the best hazard setters. It's unfortunate. But yeah, moving on to the next team.
We have Zing or Genius. He has Dragapult with no Terra, Galar Slowking, Urshifu Rapids, Clodsire, Klefki, Tyranitar, Arboliva, Halucha, Rabska, and Ice-Cube, with Tyranitar and Halucha as his Terra captains.
Um,
I think at first glance, I think the first three were pretty solid pickups in core, but after that, I felt like his team became very underwhelming. I know during the draft he kind of prioritized certain mons when over other ones that he might probably shouldn't have, and that cost him having those particular mons. And you can kind of, I feel like you can kind of tell that's what happened after the
he most
first.
gotten like a Titan, in my opinion. Unfortunate that he didn't.
I mean,
Or any.
it went in round 6, so he definitely waited a while for it.
I don't know. My problem is the first three are really good, but then the rest of the team is just very subpar.
Mm.
I mean, Clodsire is
I like his
okay.
Pokemon. Yeah. I don't think
Uh,
it's that the Pokemon are necessarily bad. They're just synergy is
Right.
extremely
Yeah.
weird, man.
Yeah. They're not bad Pokemon in themselves. It's mainly the synergy. Like when you have two two poison types that are fat and bulky, and then you have a T-Tar and Klefki as well. I think you really want to invest in some good ground answers, and instead he has this Grassmon and Halucha, which Halucha is doesn't really count.
and
I
don't
feel
sleep
like
on Rabska.
I think you're sleeping on Ravska, bro.
This
if I'm
also
on
has that revival move.
Yeah, dude,
yeah,
you can sleep talk that revival move too. Kind of crazy.
Crazy. But yeah, I thought the T-Tar pick was kind of random. Seemed like he was just grasping for a dark type, and then he didn't get an abuser. Granted, there's only like one abuser with Tyranitar, but he didn't end up grabbing that. Um, and then I think he wanted.
uh,
I think Rillaboom was available, and he just didn't pick it up. Instead, he picked up Arboliva, um, and then eventually got Halucha with it. But I think at that point he didn't have any points since he got T-Tar.
Yeah.
I just feel
It's
like,
a game.
yeah. I mean, I don't think he has to use Unburden. I think Halucha is pretty good without Unburden. Like, I never used it with like the terrain seeds. You still have like the Sky Attack power herb options. Now you have Terra, so you can kind of make use of that as Mold Breaker for some of these unaware mons. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like his breaking potential could be a bit lackluster. Because like you have pull kind of facilitating for like Urshifu, and then like what else? Like Halucha, Titar. They kind of need boosts or to be semi-threatening.
Yeah.
I guess he does kind of have the Slowking chili reception with Ice Cube, because I think in the snow it takes physical hits and it like refreshes it every turn in the snow. So you definitely need a special attacker for that one.
I don't know. Ice Cube is very niche.
Oh, dude, Ice Cube's broken. Don't you know? IML's proving that.
Yeah, just click belly drum and then once your
Yeah.
thing's broken, you just sweep.
Sounds
Dude,
like
that's the Mega Metacham chick.
but yeah. I don't think I think it's like one of the drafts on the lower end. But I mean, it still has some solid mods, so
Can't go wrong with Dragapult.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't
Can't
go
go
wrong.
too wrong. You can't go too wrong.
You can go wrong, but your floor isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways,
All right, let's move on to the last row of coaches. So the next coach we have Veno, and he has Iron Bundle, Urshifu Single Strike, Cyclozar, Lando T, Azumarill, Iron Thorns, Galar Slowbro, Orthworm, Wigglytuff, and Go-Go, with Azumarill and Iron Thorns as his Terra captains.
so this is a pretty threatening team in my opinion. Lots of just fat, hard hitting mons.
With some pretty good facilitators as well.
Yeah. Very dangerous team to face. I think it's like it has some pretty decent defensive options as well. Not the greatest in the world, but definitely, I mean, a lot of the mons are pretty bulky, so it's nice. I think overall this is a pretty solid draft. Just a lot of very scary setup mods that can be past a shed tail and go crazy.
Yeah, especially with Azumarill and having the Terra access on it. Iron Thorns, I feel like this mod definitely wants Terra, and it's very threatening with it. The ability to have a specific coverage move and help that defensive typing that it has pretty bad. I kind of like seeing him use his mid tier picks as his Terra captains rather than like throw it on like Urshifu. It definitely doesn't need it, and I feel like his team can be a little bit more threatening because of it.
Yeah.
I do like the Cyclozar facilitation with like it just seems so scary, like trying to predict what might come in between like Urshifu, Azu, bundle. Like I feel like it'll be kind of a nightmare in battle. Especially since I don't think phasing is as prominent, at least like not like Roar.
The good thing is Azu handles all the types that Cyclozar is weak to other than Fairy. So
Yeah,
Just like
and he does have Galar Slowbro for those pesky fairy types.
really
I
bad.
mean, generally Cyclozar's bulk is so poor that you don't need to hit it super effectively. You don't really worry about that. At least I don't. But um, no, I think it's just really annoying. He has like potential switch-ins to any type that you're trying to click, so it's really difficult to find a middle ground that prevents a sub on all of his Pokemon since he's got so many threats. You could try to ground move him, but he's got Orlando T that could be like SD behind a sub, could easily still break through teams. And then of course he's got Azu Iron Thorns, Urshifu Iron Bundle, and there's that Azu covers a bunch of stuff, and so on, right? If you get the prediction wrong, it can like easily lead to a kill or just a sweep. It's extremely terrifying. Not to mention, Cyclizar also gets Taunt to prevent phasing, so if you get a little patient, try to preemptively position your phaser, and he taunts before passing out, then that could just spell doom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the fact that it has Regenerator, of course, allows you to basically maintain that threat most of the game, as well as like its utility with knockoff. It can just U-turn out as well. So if you like try to double, you can just U-turn and then punish you that way while healing. Doesn't necessarily need to set us up. But yeah, I think his team is very threatening. A lot of people I saw mention they didn't want to play it because it just looks like a nightmare to prep for, offensively at least. And then obviously with the middle ground guessing game with Cyclizar.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a scary team.
Yeah, he kind of has the top two Mons are like Mons that have very little checks between like Bundle and Urshifu. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's a team that can handle both of them per se. At least not defensively. You're gonna have to offensively check them in some way.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next team.
All right, Habaduh. So Habaduh has Qianpao, Zapdos, Huaquavel, Tinglu, Bronzong, Decidueye, Lycanroc Dusk, Dragalge, Ursaring, and Colossal, with Decidueye and Lycanroc Dusk as Terra Captives.
Give us your perspective, Habda.
You want to hear what I think? Okay, well, I mean, I kind of just Qianpao, I wanted to establish some sort of like get some Pokemon that could effectively bring it in consistently, which is why I was going for Zapdos, Quaquaval, and Decidueye. I thought also fit that core. It's me pivot around and bring in some of my breakers. I grabbed Tinglu and Bronzong because they're both fat, get hazards. Kind of just wasn't really a specific plan in mind. I kind of just grabbed things that I liked.
It's
I
definitely
think
a more
it's
offensive looking draft from what I normally see you use. Do you kind of like the insured pivoting or just good pivoters in general to get in certain threats, but mons that can actually like last in a game longer while forcing progress. I feel like here you kind of have like the pivoting options down, but I feel like you definitely have a lot more threats than I'm used to you seeing.
I mean, I think Gen 9 definitely forced my hand with this draft because there aren't as many options for what I prefer in Gen 8. So
Yeah,
and I think defense is just going all in on the offense is just a better call than defense because I don't like playing reactionary.
yeah. I am intrigued to see the Ursaring put in some work,
Yeah.
especially getting a Violite access now. Um, that thing was already decently bulky. Now it's just going to be pretty annoying. Well, access to like bulk up Swords Dance as well. Quick feet. And then again, we mentioned it before. I do like and Rock Dusk having Terra access. I feel like the Terra Rock with like a Cellar Rock, play rough coverage, or like Terra Fairy, like Terra fighting. I feel like those can be pretty strong in this meta, because essentially you basically kind of get stab on the same things that Iron Valiant would have, plus like a unique priority move, especially for all those like ice types. But you don't have to worry about one of them since you have Chien Pao. Yeah, I feel like your team kind of covers its weaknesses pretty well, especially around like a lot of the top, like maybe like the top 6 as well.
Yeah, I like the pivoting of the team, and you have some good offensive threats as well.
Good utility as well. I think Decidueye still retains knockoff, defog. I'm not sure.
I don't know how Bronzong is going to be,
Yeah,
just because I'm on Lost Toxic, but hopefully it's okay.
Man, don't sleep. He gains stored power. He's a whole threat now.
I don't know
all
if it
right.
works out, but you can hope.
Dude, your unaware Dondozo will not save you. Song is coming.
Yeah, okay.
That is true. Stored power still retains its boosted base power through unaware.
Quote me on this, bro. If I lose to Bronzong, I'm retiring for good, bro.
Oh
Hey,
man, I
bro.
think it's time to put you to rest, pal.
We're gonna
Hey,
try our
man.
hardest now. Join together just to make you lose to Elmon.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, next team is a pretty unique looking team. It's Shadows. He has Vascular Legion Male, Garchomp, Meowscarada, Scizor, Fundy T, Hatterene, Grafaiai, Lucario, Tatsugiri, and Pelipper, with Scizor and Fundy T being his Terra captains. So essentially, this is just a small rain team with like Pelipper, switch some Basket Legion, gets access to the last respects, also with adaptability. Emon is pretty tough, probably to beat in an end game, especially if you're able to remove. Like I feel like the difference between this Mon and Houndstone is that Houndstone doesn't have a good secondary stab and has to rely on like body press for normal types. Here, like you can just spam last respects, and then if they go to a normal type, you're in the rain, you just click Wave Crash, and you kind of just dent it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has some good rain options. I think Thundurus still has Weather Ball, I believe.
I'd imagine.
No, it does not. Never mind. I take it back.
Ooh.
But, I mean, with Terra, that should be solved. Basket Legion and Rain, I think, is going to be very good. Unfortunately, Pelipper is definitely not as good as it used to be with no Scald and no Defog either. But I mean, he also has rain setting options. Grafaiai, whatever that monster. Because that's Prankster and like Rain Dance and stuff, and like Parting Shot. So it's kind of a good utility mod. Yeah, I think this team is okay. I would say it's pretty good. Definitely has some threats.
It's definitely a very offensive team. Yeah, I don't really see any like clear defensive mod. Yeah, outside of maybe Garchomp. Yeah, Scizor is not really
crazy offensive.
Yeah, super offensive.
No, I think it does it right though. Like he hasn't full committed to rain, which I think if you're gonna have rain, you don't want to be like forced into it every week.
And he has good priority.
Yeah, and he's got fantastic priority. I think, so he can function in and out, and he is just a bunch of threads.
I like the healing wish option as well, especially for Basket Legion.
Shattering
Don't sweep.
is weird to me, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. This looks weird on this team.
I like Hatterene. I think it's a good mod. You get a Trick Room option if you prefer that, and you get Healing Wish. You get Magic Bounce to prevent hazards in some matchups. Can definitely be very annoying to play into.
Yeah, I feel like his goal is mainly to kind of just overwhelm you quickly, and he has a lot of priority to back it up between like Meowscarada, Scizor, I mean even Basket Legion, Lucario, Grafai's, Prankster, and pretty reliable setter. I mean Garchomp kind of just can just bring rocks SD every week. I feel like his draft's pretty straightforward. I feel like that might hurt him a little bit because his team seems rather predictable. Like you kind of know kind of what mons are going to come and like what they kind of do. It's just a matter of can you stop Basket Legion?
Shadow is the only Basket Legion user in all of Masters.
He's gonna show us the way.
This is the way. But yeah, I think this draft's pretty straightforward. So I guess we can move on to the final two drafts. And the first of those two includes Rye, who has Spectre, Great Tusk, Baxcalibur, Iron Moth, Grimmsnarl, Corviknight, Sandy Shocks, Dondozo, Thwackey, Masquerain, and Greedent, with Spectre and Dondozo as his Terra captains. So, Rye, if you kind of want to explain this, I guess for my initial thoughts, we see another Corviknight, Dondozo, Sandy Shocks core. I think Sablo had that. I'm interested to see how Corviknight can help facilitate on your team. I mean, you have Spectre as a pretty fast threat, especially with Terra access. You can use it with like Terra fighting or Fairy for like the normals and the dark types. Tusk is a very reliable spinner on top of like Corviknight's Defog. And then Baxcalibur, what I call the Gen 9 Pure and Black. I think that mon is a threat and a half, especially with like your Grimmsnarl screens parting shot support. But yeah, any other things you want to add?
I think I definitely tried to go for a more kind of bulky offense type team, and I think the Corviknight Dozo Shock score was something I discovered a little bit later, but I actually like it because they cover each other's types really well. Yeah, I pretty much got all the mons I wanted to in this draft. I didn't really get sniped, so I was chilling. But I think overall, just Spectre with Terra is going to be a really big threat for a lot of teams to handle. And I also like my other captain, Terra Dondozo, because it kind of reminds me of Skeledirge, where you have unaware and then can Terra into any type. It allows you to check like basically any sort of meta threat. So yeah, it's just nice. And yeah, Baxcalibur is of course super threatening with some of the screens options. So yeah, and then I also have Masquerain for if that ever comes.
I don't think you're ever bringing Masquerain Lips, bro.
Bro, don't doubt Masquerain, bro. That Masquerain is actually viable, unlike Spidops.
Rye's gonna take a max defense Masquerain to check some fighting type.
Of course.
Does get Intimidate. Anything you'd like to add, Haba?
I think he covered it pretty well. It's a well-rounded team. You definitely achieve what you set out to do.
I will say Oh, yeah, you can finish. Yeah.
That was it.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, we drafted three of the four same mons in our first 4 picks. I was interested to see what direction we both went. I definitely went more offensively oriented with like natural bulk, but you definitely went with a more bulky offense style, having reliable checks and pivots to certain things. Hence with like Grimmsnarl, Corviknight, Dondozo. I still don't rate Corviknight as a mon, but I'm intrigued to see how you use it. I feel like it's only going to come maybe like 3 games, if that. But we'll see.
I think Corviknight by itself isn't a great pawn, but I think on my team it has good synergy. But
Yeah.
Just because I have good electric answers. But
yeah, you definitely have a team of like the 8 mons that work well together, and then Thwacky, Masquerain, and Greedent at the bottom. Greedent can be a threat though.
Greedent's a beast.
All right, and then I guess we can move on to the last team of the Victims Conference. So that is Rob Jr., and he has Sneasler, Iron Treads, Enamorous Incarnate, Rotom Wash, Iron Jugulus, Armor Rouge, Gudra, Serena, Palisand, Carbink, and Clough, with Enamorous Eye and Armor Rouge as his Terra captains. Pretty interesting team. The only ice response that I see is just Rotom Wash, and that thing lacks, kind of, it lost Pain Split, so its recovery is a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, it's got no sustainability.
Yeah.
his bundle checks. Oh no.
Bundle and Chi and Pow, I feel like those 2 mons kind of just
they're gonna run. They're gonna run that team. Unfortunate.
I feel like even in a sense, like the fighting types are pretty scary versus this team. He just has to pray like Enamorous can take things on.
What does Banded Shampoo do to Wash? I feel like it does like
probably 2 KOs.
Yeah,
bro. I feel like it easily does like 40%.
Banded 2 KOs for sure, bro.
Yeah, kind of rough.
Yeah, he's gonna have to just sack.
I think this is another case of wanting to try some new mods, which I can't blame him.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Armor Rouge is really cool. I'm excited to see how well that mod does.
Your self-proclaimed Gen 9 Victini.
I think that mod is gonna be slept on. Looks solid to me.
Bro, what kind of Victini doesn't run V-Create?
Bro, we got a new V-Create now.
What is new V-Create?
Armor Rouge's move.
It's like a
Cannon?
It's like a special Flare Blitz, right? Or
No.
special Fire CC or something.
Yeah. It's interesting.
This new Victini.
I don't know, man. I think you're overhyping this.
Watch out.
It's definitely good, though. It's probably just, I don't know, it looks worse than its counterpart.
With Terra, I think it can definitely be viable.
Maybe with Terra. I like the other one more. It gets Shadow Sneak.
Yeah. I think he definitely could have gotten the other one, though. I think it would have fit better, like him having a ghost type.
Yeah. I mean, I like some of his top picks, like Sneasler, Treads, Enamorous. Rotom Wash is a really good pivot. I feel like
his ghost being Douglas is still bad too. Oh, continue.
Oh, I know, that's good. Yeah, Iron Jugulus is. I'm still not sure how I feel about this mon. To me, it just feels like it's a. I don't know. It seems worse than Galar Moltres, but I have to be proven wrong or proven right based on that. Right. But I just feel like after that, like his picks were just so lackluster. Again, it's one of those cases where he just picked mons. I feel like kind of just to serve like a type, and that's the reason why there's like a Gudra There's like Palo Sand on this team. There's like Carbink for like a fair. Like he already has a fairy, and he got another rock type after that, and then like Palo Sand is his ghost type, and he already has like a ground. I just felt like it was these picks were just so weird, and they don't really fit.
Yeah. I get what you mean, but Carbink's the goat.
Carbink is good. I like them on.
Outside of Carbink, I see that. Yeah.
Carbink really the best mon. Of
Yeah,
that
man,
bottom.
it might just be. It might just be.
No, don't sleep on Cloth, bro.
No,
He
dude.
didn't tear a Cloth.
Yeah, he didn't
I
tear it either. So yeah.
I don't know if that mon's gonna be viable.
I tried to use cloth with toxic. That mon is no good. Trust
No,
me.
the problem with Cloth is if it worked like weak armor or whatever, where it's just any hit triggers it, that would be good. But the fact that you have to be below 50% is kind of trash.
Honestly, I don't think that's a problem. Below 50% isn't hard to achieve. It's just that stats kind of bad. It's not strong enough.
It's not. Yeah, it's 100 attack and like 72 speed and minus. I mean, getting +1 speed is cool and all, but at 75 speed, you're not outspeeding a ton.
Well, it does
Bro,
get
you're gonna
it
have
does
to
get
run
shell
Jolly.
smash though.
It does not get shell.
Oh, it does not.
Does it not,
No.
dude? What?
Oh, Cloth stocks have dropped tremendously.
Yeah, on the shell smash, we'd be working with something, but it does.
Yeah, no, the cloth stocks at an all-time low.
Investors, remove yourself from the Cloth stocks.
This is so sad.
It is plummeting as we speak.
But yeah, that's it for these drafts. What do you all say is top drafts for
from this pool?
Yeah.
For this conference. I have to look through them again. I kind of forgot.
My personal favorite draft is definitely Veno's draft. That's my personal favorite. Other than my own.
I think I gotta say Veno's probably the top draft.
I like Veno's team. I like Habaduh's team as well. Aesthetically, they're like the most appealing drafts in this pool. Like color wise. But I think they're pretty good offensively. Veno's offense seems pretty tough to switch into, and then like a lot of these ones have natural bulk, so I just feel like a lot of things are gonna be scared to just, get damage and then die and then have it not matter. I like Haba's offense with his pivoting. I think it suits his offensive playstyle well. And then I'm not sure what other teams they kind of have to speak to me later on.
Yeah. With that concludes our analysis of these drafts.
Casual analysis, yeah.
Yep.
I wonder if we should do kind of like weekly recaps of all the games.
That sounds like fun if you guys are keen. It sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. 10 games, bro. Oh.
Bro, that's a lot of
Unless
games.
we just do our games. That's 3 matches.
Oh, true. I don't know though. Then we're gonna be leaking all our secrets.
10 games. I'm gonna have to see about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we could just choose like some favorites every week, alternatively.
To do like Sorry, choked on myself. Could do like trimesters, like every 3 weeks. Kind of check in how everyone's doing. Kind of point out some key performances and all that.
We're gonna figure.
Yeah, I mean, surely we do something. Nothing, sure.
Yeah, this was really long. I think it's almost 2 hours, but I really don't feel like doing this for the other divisions. I apologize.
Yeah.
We are busy people.
Man, they can get their own people. to do this.
Yeah, get your own coaches.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all these new teams in action, how they function, who gets body bagged, who has close games. I guess prediction out of the 10 games for this week 1, how many of them do you think are going to be like blowouts, like 4-0s or higher?
Oh, it's hard to predict a blowout.
Let me see what like the matchups are real quick.
That being said, I'm gonna say that at least a third of them will be a blowout. Can't say which, but probably like a third.
So we have like
Like people covering their teams is going to be rough.
I guess it is going to be matchup dependent. We'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
see.
I've heard that there are some pretty crazy matchups.
Yeah, I already prepped for mine. Let's go.
Yeah, I haven't even started. Honestly, man, we need the calc, man. This is so weird.
Yeah, calculating with Terra and booster energy is a bit interesting. Because you gotta like apply like adaptability and life orb.
Yeah, hopefully they fix that.
Oh.
Bro, how am I gonna calc with this gym pal ability? It's like 0.25, man.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You're gonna have to like manually change the stat and then like use a calculator.
Oh, that sounds extremely annoying. I mean, I could just manually increase the stat, I guess.
That's why I didn't draft that mon. I'm not trying to deal with that every week.
Are we?
I didn't think this would be a problem.
Are we wrapped up? Don't let these people be sitting here.
All right. We'll send you guys out. Left you here for too long. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Don't roast us for our opinions, because they're an opinion for a reason. But I hope everyone has a successful season.
Yeah. I hope everyone does well with their teams.
Yeah. And given that...
I hope everybody has a fun time.
Yeah. And seeing as 12 out of the 20 teams make the playoffs, I feel like it's going to be a bloodbath to the very end.
Man, it could have been less.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.